Hello?
Yeah, may I speak to Harold's father, please?
This would be him. I'm Doyle King.
Of course you are.
What'd you expect?
Here he is, folks, the great Doyle King, international man of mystery. You may know him as doing traffic for the Musers and the Hardline, but a very storied radio
What,
career.
like 20 years ago?
When's the last time you did
Seems
traffic?
like it. God, man. Back in the decade of the tens.
Yeah, I thought he was there in the 2010s for sure. And I got to know Doyle because I would do the top 10. And I would be in a little room kind of hanging out by myself. And Doyle would do what Doyle does and kind of tornado in about 10 minutes at a time into a production room, work on his report. And while doing that, would tell me stories about how much cooler radio used to be.
Well, it damn sure did.
So when I run into Doyle Friday night, I hadn't seen him in a long time. And he's like, in his classic Doyle way, he's like, "Oh, you did it. You guys did it. You beat the man." And I don't know how true that really is, but it was very, very good to see you the other night.
It was good to see. It was good to see you too, man. You know, and I'm so proud of you guys. I really am, showing you that hey, it doesn't have to be radio. You can do it the way radio is now on the internet.
So you didn't have much interaction with Dan in your ticket time. Is that correct?
No, not really, because he was on middays.
Yes.
I didn't come on until the hardline came in.
Yeah, I was a spare.
So I don't
Not in
think,
drive
like,
time.
I don't even think Dan knows that we'd go to Summer Bash, for example, and whatever lake we were on, Doyle would pull up in a boat with like a red, white, and blue mohawk with Groobs and Soroy on his boat. They're all just chugging from the bottle before the time wasters are set to go.
Man, you know, we gotta do a broadcast from my boat.
Wow, let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Absolutely.
Seems a little
This
chilly.
summer.
Yeah.
This summer.
Okay.
I ain't getting in the water now. Damn water's 54 degrees.
So, I want to have you on for a full episode soon, but it was just so great to hear your voice and talk to you. And I realized Dan doesn't know a ton about Doyle. So you were definitely like a hype man, a ringside guy at one point, weren't you?
Well, speaking of ringside, I was ringside at the Sportatorium for years and years when we were doing wrestling. We brought, as a matter of fact, rock and wrestling didn't start with Cyndi Lauper and Lou Albano and that group out of the WWF. It started right here when Q102 put wrestling on the air in late 1983. That's how rock and wrestling started.
That's a wild thing to imagine, that Q102, our rock station here, is just running live local wrestling with Doyle on the call on a weekend late night.
Hey,
and Ralph.
John Michaels, the OD,
there you go,
was my ringside partner, and we would broadcast, like 3-minute vignettes from the Sportatorium Friday night, and then we would have some of the wrestlers come in. We'd do a recap at midnight when I went on the air, and have some of the wrestlers come in. We had Gary Hart, One Man Gang, all kinds of guys that were there. Kerry Von Erich, drunk one night. Oh, that was a trip.
So
Me and John spent over 2 hours editing the tape because his daddy Fritz wanted to hear it, and we made him sound great. He was going, well, I don't know what everybody's talking about. There's nothing wrong with that.
So I remember you on the Hardline, and the Hardline interviewing you, and one thing I remember that stood out was like, this guy said he's done crack.
Oh, God, we got to talk about that.
Well, I don't know a lot of people who have done crack, man. Like, I know a lot of people who have grandkids.
You know why? Because they're all dead.
Yeah.
Or in prison.
But you seem to come out on the other side pretty happy-go-lucky dude. You're fired up about, I did a little crack. Sure. Sold everything I had to get it.
Yes. And if it hadn't been for my wife, Connie, my late wife, Connie, who dragged me up from the depths of despair and the bottom of the drug barrel, I'd be in prison or dead right now, too.
Yeah, same.
Connie helped you?
That's what she did for me.
We all need our own Connie.
Yes.
So, just in a brief...
I just want to know what crack's like, man. Like, so it's cocaine or...
It's better, right?
No, it's way better.
Like, it's cheaper?
Way better.
Like, this is the 80s? Are we talking the 80s?
I wouldn't know now, but yeah, we're talking the 80s.
Okay, because I was
early and mid 80s.
My head went when you said radio used to be way cooler. I'm picturing piles of cocaine in the program director's office or the promotions guy or whatever. I don't know why it's cooler, but
in the station van.
Yeah.
They used to have. I don't know if anybody even remembers now the Texas Jam, where we'd pack 80,000 people in the Cotton Bowl to see 7 or 8 rock bands that played all day in the middle of the summer, 110 degrees down on the floor. But Louis Messina, who promoted those shows, and we were always a part of them, being the radio station, would have a big dinner before the shows. And they would go out to a nice restaurant somewhere. And yes, there were lines of cocaine all across the table for everybody to do. And everybody just had a good time.
And you would partake?
Well, I was always on the air.
Mm. Well, doesn't that enhance
I never got to go to one of those dinners, but I heard the stories.
Okay. Are you saying that you've never been on the air and under the influence of cocaine?
I did not say that.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. And then how do you? When do you first run into crack?
My cousin David.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense to me.
Thanks, cousin David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, when they say one toke and you are addicted, it's a freaking truth.
Really? What'd you have to? How'd you get off it?
I chased that shit. I ran out of money.
That'll help, I guess.
You know, and I guess maybe I still had a little morals left. I wasn't going to turn into a thief.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and go rob and burglarize to get my crack. But yeah, when you run out of money, man, there's not much you can buy.
Okay, well, David, I kind of understand David, just because it's kind of like when Jake had to rehab it up for a month. Like, I didn't know who am I going to be to him when he comes back? I'm the enabler. I'm the guy that wants to. I'm the guy. If you're saying, "Am I having too much?" No, dude, you're fine. You're going to be great. Everybody's got their own thing. We work through it. So I understand David here a little bit.
You know, David had all the girls.
Yeah,
that's like me and Jake.
Nothing, yeah. There's nothing better than hanging out with David and his girls and doing crack and having sex.
Yeah, it sounds awesome.
And playing rock and roll. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, baby.
And now, so this is the guy I know from all these years. This is a guy I've heard these stories about. Like, hey, we just go park the van in the 80s downtown, music venue. This is the guy who now is just at, like, grandparents' night. Or at grandparents' lunch day or whatever. I'm like, what the hell?
You know, I did. I left those days behind. I got great stories from them. But, now smoke a little weed, have a couple of drinks. I'm good.
How many years are we away from the majority of grandmas having, like, tramp stamps?
I can't be far away.
They're all getting that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Right.
And you still today you do of course a little voice work. What's your day-to-day like now?
Well, I've got a full-time job, and I'm going to tell you where I work because it wouldn't reflect. I probably wouldn't reflect on them well.
That's smart.
So my part-time job, I still work in radio. I do a classic country show 7 days a week, 5 nights a week, and middays on the weekends. I'm on 60 stations across the U.S.
Wow.
small and medium market stations.
Well, right now you're broadcasting to the world.
That's right. On
I
the
know.
internet.
You're all over the place. You know, we could use from time to time, we find ourselves in need of a voice guy.
We also, from time to time, need someone who's not a professional, who doesn't invoice you. So as great as Doyle is.
Well, shoot me some copy, man.
Yeah, I didn't know
Okay.
if we might be able to
Take a shot.
know.
Yeah, you scratch mine.
Yeah, I don't know what we have to scratch, though.
Well, Doyle, it's great to hear from you. I'm glad to hear you're doing well, and she's got a great grandpa.
Absolutely, man. It was great to see you the other night. I'm so proud of you guys for what you have done and setting legal precedents with the non-compete clauses across the United States.
Yeah, everyone's
because
free now.
Free.
Everybody's free now.
Yes,
Free.
you were the guys that set all that in motion. Anyway, I know you got to go. I got to go, and we'll get together sometime in the studio. And now that my wife has passed, I've got some stories. She would never let me tell them.
Silver lining guy right
Talk
there.
about me and those stories.
Silver
But
lining
now that
guy.
she's gone, I can.
All right. Well, good. Yeah, that is a great silver lining.
All right, Doyle, we'll talk soon, man.
All right, brothers. Y'all
There he
take care.
goes,
See ya.
Grandpa Doyle King.